How do we filter just the data that we need when we request data from the database or the table? Okay, so to demonstrate that, I got MySQL Server up and running. Okay, thanks to our MAMP installation. I got the Workbench running as well, and I'm going to go ahead and connect to MySQL Server using Workbench. Okay, password is root. And let me zoom in. And I'm going to go ahead and type use. And I'm going to use the same database I've been using in the previous videos. Use week4db. Okay. All right. So let's say we want to get. Okay. So if we type select asterisk from vehicles, apparently it's going to get us literally just about everything. I mean, all fields, all information that's available about those vehicles in this table, and all vehicles as well, like all columns and all rows, so to speak. This says all columns, right? Now, even if we put order by, even if we say here select v make, comma v model from vehicles and run that, yeah, we're only getting two columns this time, but we're still getting all vehicles. Okay. If we put order by, I mean that doesn't do anything as far as filtering. Order by vmake simply says, hey, I want my list sorted by the company that made the vehicle. Okay, so by vehicle make. But it still doesn't filter the vehicles. Okay, but what if you just want to see a list of Toyotas? Okay, so let's tackle that. All right, for that purpose, you're gonna need filter clauses such as the where, the and clause, and also the or clause, or and or the or clause. Okay, so let's take a look at one example. Let's say make and model of all Toyota vehicles. Okay, and just to add sort by make, then by model. Okay, so to do that, we need select vmake, comma vmodel from vehicles. Okay, now if you're thinking, okay, so do we put order by? Not yet. Okay, the order by will come last. What we need to put is the filter. Okay, so where, right? You don't put and, because that's not going to make sense. Even from an English sentence point of view, that's not going to make sense. Your first condition will have to be, your first filter condition has to be specified using the where clause. So where, and then you come up with the condition. The condition is composed of three things. So you'll normally have, on one spot, you'll have a field or a value, and then you'll have a comparison operator, a relational operator like a greater than or less than or equal to. If you see this in SQL, that means not equal. Okay. There's also greater greater than or equal to, and there's also less than or equal to. Okay. So and the list goes on. Okay. So yeah, so you put the field or value in one spot, then you put your comparison operator, so let's say greater than, and then you put another, and essentially what are you comparing that with? So you might be comparing that against another field, or perhaps a value like a string or number. Okay, so you pretty much the basic pattern, but not always, but the basic pattern is you're going to have these three things, these three elements to form your filter, to form your condition. So what should be our condition, our filter then? Well, we just want Toyotas, right? So which of these columns in the vehicles table indicate the name of the company that made them? So it's vmake, right? So we put vmake. So we want to say the vmake, the value of the vmake column has to be the word Toyota. So and if it is, we want to put that or include that in the query result. If it's not Toyota, we don't want to include that in the result. All right, so vmake equals Toyota. Okay, now observe. The spaces that I put here, they're optional. You can type them like that. Okay, just basically force of habit. I type it that way. The word Toyota is enclosed in quotes. Now you might see examples out there in other references might use double quotes. They're the same thing. Okay, what matters is strings or text values. They have to be in quotes. Okay, like this word Toyota. Okay, but only for strings. But I put a semicolon here, but we're missing one more thing, and that is to sort it by make and model. So we're going to get rid of that semicolon. We're going to put the order by. And I said order by comes after the where. In fact, comes last. So we're going to put order by vmake, comma, vmodel. So we're just going to keep everything ascending. Okay, we're not going to bother with the descending. So just ascending in this case. Control Enter, Control, or if you're using a Mac, Command Return. Okay. Let's see, we got, all right, so we just got Toyotas. We don't have Fords or Dodges or Chevrolets, just Toyotas. Okay, so that's really cool. Let's make another one. Pretty much the same thing, make and model of all, maybe Dodge, all Dodge vehicles. But this time, I want vehicles that cost below, let's say, $40,000. Okay, so Dodge vehicles, doesn't matter, trucks, minivans, what have you, but they gotta be below $40,000. Okay, so select. Actually, let's include make, model. So let's edit that comment. Not that that matters, but make, model, and price of all Dodge vehicles, the vehicles that cost below $40,000. So select vmake, comma, vmodel, comma, vprice from vehicles. Okay, that should be, you should be getting the hang of that by now. All right, so from vehicles where, okay, the cost means price, so v price. Below 40 means you're not including exactly 40,000, vehicles priced exactly $40,000. So we're going to put less than, not less than or equal to, just less than. If we want to include $40,000 Dodge vehicles, then we would put less than or equal. Okay, so we're just going to use less than 40,000. You're going to type the 40,000 like this. Simply because, and a semicolon to denote the end, but simply because the V price field in our vehicles table, that's a decimal. We didn't, that field is not taking into consideration the currency symbol. We're not storing that in that field. We don't need the comma separator either. It's just the number itself, the 40,000. So therefore, when you formulate your condition, you have to take that into account, how the data is in these columns. So in this case, we just put 4 followed by the 4 zeros, 40,000. You don't need the comma. Okay, if you put a comma, you're gonna get an error. So in fact, but if you're, oh, by the way, if you're wondering, do we need quotes? Not in this case, because this is numeric, a numeric value. You only need quotes, like in the Toyota earlier. You only need quotes on strings, not on numeric values like this, okay? Another way of, well, here's actually a better way of knowing whether to put quotes around your value or not. My suggestion is don't look at the value itself, okay? You look at the field you are comparing it against. Like in this case, or perhaps where this is stored, okay? So in this case, we're comparing it against a field called vprice, which we know, if we were to investigate the structure of that, the vprice is a decimal. Has a numeric type. Okay, so therefore the values you can compare against this field, against the values of this field, they have to be treated as a number. Like, or this one has to be treated as a number, not a string. Okay. In this case, vmake. What's vmake? Vmake actually, I think it's, well, I recall is varchar. I forgot what size, but doesn't matter. It's a varchar, so which means text. So therefore, when we create the condition, the value that we compare that field to has to be also text. Okay, cannot be a number. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so where v price less than 40,000. Let's see. Control return, command enter. I'm sorry, control enter, command return in the Mac. Windows is control return. Control enter. All right, so let's see. Below 40,000, that is right. Okay, I might say, oh, they're descending. Actually, they're not. Just by one glance, they might look like they are descending, but actually they're not. Okay, so if you want them sorted, yep, you're gonna add order by, but it has to be added after the where. And of course, since you have the semicolon here denoting the end of it, you're gonna have to get rid of that. Put the order by, and at the end of the order by, put the semicolon. Okay. All right, so let's try something else. By the way, in case you're, I mean, there are references that will tell you this, but just want to mention this. So you have less than, you have greater than, you have less than or equal to, you have greater than or equal to. So there's no space between these two, neither these two. What other operators you can use? This is not equal. Okay, if you put the less than and a greater than sign like that, that's not equal. Okay. And then there's equal, like we used with the Toyota earlier. All right. So there should be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 relational operators all in all. This is also true for many computer languages, albeit maybe this one, the not equal. In some languages, that's expressed as exclamation mark equal sign. In SQL, don't get confused. So if you're learning 2 or more languages this time, in SQL, not equal is less than followed by the greater than sign like that. They're like facing each other, okay? All right, so anyway, another example. Let's see. Okay, so let's say, say we want to see Toyota vehicles that cost less than $25,000. Okay, so let's for a change, let's do all info about Toyota vehicles that cost less less than what did I say, $25,000? All right, so $25,000. Okay, so all info means select asterisk from the only table that we have. And let's see where. Okay, so you're going to need 2 filters here because you're filtering by the company name and you're filtering by price as well. So how do you do that? Well, you can start with either one of them. Doesn't matter which filter you put first. So where vmake equals Toyota. Okay. But you cannot use the where clause again. You cannot type another where here. No, that's not going to work. Think of it as where this condition. Okay, what else? Do you have another condition? Yep, the price gotta be less than 25,000. So you cannot you don't put a comma here. Some of my students before did that, and that's wrong. What you have to put is a conjunction. You know, like when you say bread and butter. So what's the conjunction there? It's the word and. So in this case, you're going to put and end is a clause in SQL in select statements. And, okay, what's your next condition? So the next condition is V price less than $25,000. So just like that. Okay. So let's see. Less than 25K Toyotas? Survey says. Nope. You might say, Joel, we didn't get anything. So what's wrong with the select statement? Well, just because you got nothing, you're gonna assume that that it's wrong. Well, maybe it's just that there are no less than $25,000 Toyotas in this table. All right, if you want, we can do this. Let's temporarily. Let me put here select asterisk from vehicles, um, where VMake equals Toyota. I'm gonna run this statement again. We did this earlier. I'm just gonna run it here temporarily. And if you look at all these Toyotas, none of them cost less than $25,000. Nope. In fact, they're all above 25,000. Yep. So the cheapest one in the list is 26. So there you go. So just because you got nothing, that you're gonna assume that, oh, it's the select statement is wrong. No, it's not. It just happens that no record or no records met your two conditions, your criteria basically. Okay. In the same way, when you put your username but you put the wrong password when you log into the website, it's kind of like doing this. Those logins that you see in websites are basically running a select statement that looks something like this, like select username, password from users, where username is John J Doe and password is I'm sorry, where username is J Doe and password equals 123 ABC. So if J Doe's, John Doe's username is that, but the password isn't, so this select statement, when the system runs, when the website or the app runs it, it's not going to find any record in the user's table that has a J Doe as a value in its UN column and a 123 ABC as a value in its PW column. So you're going to get a zero result here. So that doesn't mean it's wrong. I mean, the select statement isn't wrong. The password the user typed is wrong, or perhaps the username is wrong, or both. Okay. So in other words, a zero query result does not mean wrong statement. Okay. All right. So now you have two conditions here. So what about this? Let's try. What if we want to see all information about Ford and Nissan vehicles? Okay. So if you think about this, you might be driven to say, that's easy, Joel. You got to put select asterisk from vehicles, where VMake equals Ford and VMake equals what's that, Nissan, right? And when you run it, you're gonna get zero result, just like that. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. There are Fords and Nissans in this database. That is true. If I were to run a get everything kind of select statement, yep, there are Fords. There's 4 of them. Are there Nissans? Yep, there are 2 of them. Just 2, but nevertheless, we have 2. So why are we getting none? Well, to be honest, this is impossible. It's impossible because you're saying here, think of when you ask the server, when you ask, say in this case, MySQL to run your select statement, you're making MySQL go through every row in this vehicles table and see if each row, okay, meets the conditions that you established. Okay, so for example, think of it as okay, you have VMake equals Ford, VMake equals Nissan. Let's take note and. So in other words, you're saying, okay, so for this first row, is the VMake, okay, the value of this column in this first row, is it the word Ford and at the same time Nissan? I mean, well, it's neither, but to think about it, that's impossible. That's like saying there's got to be a vehicle here where the make is Ford and at the same time Nissan. Well, it's either a Ford or a Nissan, but not both. So that's why you're getting zero results here, because you're saying the value of that column has to be both these, and that's impossible. Okay, so perhaps you should, instead of using and, you should use or. So there are only two conjunctions. It's in the and and the or. So let's try that. So control return. There you go. So you got the Fords and you got the Nissans all listed there. Okay. So if you have to filter using several conditions, so you're gonna start with where, but your succeeding conditions, like this one, you're gonna have to kind of think about it well. Do I use the and? Do I use the or? It depends on the logic. So it's basically a big logic game here. All right. So that's how you filter records. You use the where. You can use the and if you have additional conditions, or you can use the or clause to put in your other conditions.